Good day and greetings from the Great White North. My name is Prickly Poo, and welcome to day 273 of a year of change and the end of our long journey with food. We have spent 12 and then another 18 weeks all on food stuff. So, although the past couple of weeks haven't really been sort of as focused as the other ones were when we were looking at fat and carbohydrates and sugar and salt, especially sugar, and for me, salt. But we sort of finished everything off, although yesterday's documentary wasn't really about protein, but we sort of touched a little bit on everything and we know quite a bit more than we did when we first started. But it's been a long bout. So I think at this point, we're pretty much done. With focusing that much on one food aspect. We're still going to be learning new stuff. We're still going to be looking at research and different studies that come out. We're still going to be sort of revisiting things from time to time. But I think the really sort of hardcore, let's focus on one part of food, is done. We won't be sort of saying, well, this week we're going to look at chicken and then pork and then carrots and all the other stuff. So we're going to be moving on to exercise mainly because we've done sort of the hard bit with the food. So anything that we sort of look at might lean a little more towards fitness aspect of it. But this week, oh my God, so much shit went on this week. For starters, I missed a day on my treadmill. And then the day after that, I only did half a day. Long story, sort of touched on it a little bit ago. But we'll get to that in a bit. But the main thing, a work thing that happened this week was our sort of office Christmas party thing. It's not really a party. The whole team sort of gets together and they vote on where they want to go for dinner. So we get a couple of hours that we're paid for to go and just, well, an hour out of that anyway, that we get paid to go and sit and eat. And of course, I'm kind of nervous about this because I've known about it for a couple of weeks. And everyone had sort of put their vote in. I don't really care one way or the other because I figure I'm going to try to get something as healthy as I can and not necessarily just like, I'm not going to order a salad because that's just going to feel weird. And depending on where it is, I'll see what happens. So, anyway, the votes all came in and pretty much everyone except for maybe one or two people decided to go to one place. I don't want to give them any advertising, but we'll say it rhymes with Schmish Malay. And it is in no way decorated like a small skiing lodge in the middle of the place where they take care of Nazi gold. Anyway, so Wednesday, middle of the day, everyone's going down. So we all go down, and I'm thinking, all right, it's not too bad because I've never eaten there. I'd never eaten at this restaurant, but I know they have chicken, so I'm going to focus on the chicken aspect of it. It's, not a lot of fat, fairly low calorie, and I did really well. I mean, this entire week actually, let me go back for a few days because when, this week I knew I had quite a bit, not really to make up for, but I wanted to really get on track with, my treadmill and, sort of starting to lose a little bit more and stay focused, and because the weekends are really difficult for me. And I knew that Wednesday was coming up, so I really wanted to sort of stick to things. And I did really, really well throughout the week. And I took a sneak peek today. Technically, this isn't my official weigh-in, but technically, I've hit my... Anyway, we'll do that tomorrow, because it may not be official. I don't want to jump ahead. Anyway, so Wednesday, we all go to the restaurant. So during the day, I had just had my cereal in the morning. And really wanted to say, okay, I need to make sure I had actually looked online at their menu and calculated what the calorie count would be if I ordered this specific meal. So I was good. I knew what I was getting into. I had everything accounted for on MyFitnessPal. I had already entered it, so everything was good. And so we went to lunch. So we're going there. I'm not a big fan of eating in front of people anyway. I never have been. I always feel like I'm the one person that they're all going to stare at and go, Jesus, because you're just like, ah. Because like you're gonna eat you try not to eat the way that you eat when you're alone. But when they say dance like nobody's watching, that's how I always feel like I eat. And I'm not messy. I never get anything on myself. It's never all over my face. I do know someone that does that. That doesn't matter what they're eating. It'll be like on their forehead. It'll be all across their face, all down the front of them. It's amazing. But I thought, nope. I just don't like people watching me while I eat. But we're at a table with like 20 other people. So everyone's talking back and forth. So I think, okay, this is good. Everyone still has a conversation going. I can take a bite, be very nice and neat and tidy and prim and proper. Everything is good. So anyway, I ordered their chicken dinner thing and thought, you know what? I'm gonna go all out because it's not quite as weird if you just go, I'm just gonna have a garden salad because it's paid for. Like the company is paying for this. So everyone, of course, is getting, well, they're paying for $20 worth of it. So everyone pretty much ordered the same thing. So I ordered just a chicken dinner and said just white meat, no skin. So it's a bit extra, but you figure it's paid for. I don't care. And we all had a budget. And I thought at least that way I can cut back a little bit on that. So I'm not eating, dark meat, which is way better than white meat anyway. It tastes better. It's got a better texture. The drumstick and the thigh are the dark meat, and it's awesome. So anyway, just white meat, no skin. There we go. So anyway, the meal comes. I'm talking. Shut up. The meal comes. Everyone digs in. I think, all right, I'm going to start with, because there's like chicken and then, or turkey. Chicken or turkey, one of the two anyway. It's a Christmas dinner, basically, is what it is. You get your turkey. So I assume it's turkey now that I think about it. So turkey, and then they had like a turkey breast and a wing for some reason. I don't know why they gave me a wing on top of it. And then fries instead of potatoes, because I didn't know what to order for a side. And I thought, you know what? I haven't had fries in a while. I'll have some fries because I had accounted for those. And then like cranberry sauce and stuffing and everything else. So anyway, they served that. So I thought I'll start in with the chicken because white meat is usually very dry unless you cook it properly. They did. They cooked it just fine. It was good. So I thought, good, I'll focus on that. And then I'll try some stuffing. So got one forkful of stuffing in. Was done with that. It tasted like they just took bread, soaked it in water, dumped in a handful of like basil and bay leaf, and then just crumpled it up and let it sit for 2 or 3 days. It was horrible. And it was all compact, which I don't mind. I don't mind like really thick, compact stuffing. But this was horrible. It was just, ugh. Anyway, so I thought, good. Okay, I'm not going to touch that. They gave me a roll, which was probably, there's an old joke. There's a Canadian comedian named Ron James. Ron James. And it's the first thing that came to mind, that this roll came off the meal at the last friggin' supper. And that's not my joke, that's his, but this is what this was like. This was as hard as a rock. So I didn't bother with that. So great, okay, so there's some calories gone. So all the bread bits that really don't have anything in them, that's going to be fine. But I haven't had fries in months. Like probably, I don't even know if I've had it since I started doing this. I probably have, but I can't remember when the last time it was that I had them. So anyway, so 4 fries later, done with those. Because they taste, if you've ever bought French fries and had them cooked, took them home, put them in the fridge, take them out the next day, then try to deep fry them in cold oil, that's what these tasted like. Everything in the meal was shit, except for the chicken. So, and I didn't eat the wing because I'm not going to sit there and pick out a wing. I can use a knife and fork with a turkey breast. So in the end, my meal cost me $20. Will cost the company $20. And I got a 200-calorie turkey breast out of it. But it was enough because I was eating very, very slowly and still had the conversation going on with different people and stuff like that. So it went well. So it was a bit of a relief. I was okay and had really less calories than I would have had normally on my lunch. But it was all right. Anyway, so that was it. That was the sort of the midweek thing I'd been sort of dreading for 2 or 3 days because I didn't want to go in and say, oh, well, there's nothing here, so I'll just have a piece of cheesecake. So in the end, it was horrible, horrible food. But the one part that was good was low calorie, not too bad, and got a little bit of protein. See, keeping things in line with the week. But that's not the big thing that happened this week. The main thing that happened this week, and I touched on this yesterday when I said I spent a whole lot of money I just didn't have. Came home on Thursday, and I have 2 cats. It's not sad. Shut up. They're okay. So came home, and one of them had something in his mouth, and he took off. Or she took off. So it took off. Now, normally, it's something like that. When winter starts coming in, you generally assume, okay, you know what? They're going to catch things from time to time. I don't have mice running through my house, but it's warmer in here than it is out there. They're going to come in. So that's what I thought it was. So anyway, later on in the evening, about an hour later, she came over and I picked her up and she's soaking wet. And so I'm thinking, what have you been into? Like, you haven't been in the toilet, you haven't been in the bathtub, there's no water anywhere, and it's really gooey. And I look at her and it's drool. She's just coated. Like her leg is coated, her chest is coated, and she's sitting with her mouth open. Now, what I thought she had in her mouth was just open. She had that stupid, like the first thing that you think of, if you remember that little picture of the cat with that stupid Taylor Swift look on its face, that's what I thought. So, of course, the first thing I think of is its jaw is dislocated. It's either it's yawned too widely and it clicked and it's just like, and it's sort of stuck that way. So at this hour, there are no vets open. So there is one that's on call. So we only really have two or three vets offices in the city. So I called the on call and briefly explained the situation. They accused me of beating up my cat, which made no sense. Why I would beat up a cat and then call them to fix it. And then they said, no, they're fine as long as they don't seem to be in any pain, but it's a cat. How the fuck do you know? Then bring them in first thing in the morning. So anyway, try to make them as comfortable as I can. And then I realized their jaw isn't dislocated because you sort of want to go, okay, well, can I feel this? Like, I don't know. I want to know how bad it is without hurting it. Anyway, still fine. Still can move the jaw up and down. Not a problem. What it was one of her teeth was actually bent inwards this way. So her bottom tooth was sort of sticking and she couldn't close her mouth. So, of course, I took a closer look at it and I'm looking at it going, obviously, she's not brushing her teeth the way that she should have been. So I'm thinking, and this is just, I know nothing about animals, but looking at it, you're going, that's going to have to come out because already it's obviously loose. So that was the problem. Anyway, took them in the next morning. They said, good enough. We'll take a look at her. Left her there for the day. Came back. Had 2 or 3 calls throughout the day from them because she's an older cat. So they went, well, we have to make sure. We don't want to just put her under and operate. We need to make sure that everything is good. So we have to run all these tests. If you approve. Well, of course I have to approve. I'm not going to have them just say, well, we're going to just start cutting open. Oh, it's dead because it's too old. So as it turns out, there's this hyperthyroidism. And there's a whole slew of other things. Mainly just because she's an older cat. And so they said, well, we can't really put her under now because if we do, her heart will explode or something. So they've done all the tests. They have a bunch of medicine that I have to give them. They're going to do this in 2 weeks, and then I take her back, and then they test her again, and if it's low enough, then they can operate and fix the teeth. However, in the meantime, my cat isn't exactly the calmest of animals. She's fine around me. She's fine around like 1 or 2 other people. In general, though, no. So she bit someone hard enough that the tooth came out. So, for those of you that are interested, for those of you that have a weak stomach, you might want to turn away. This is a cat's tooth. This is her fang. That is a very, yes. And I know it's all up there. This was the problem. I thought that this would actually go back a lot further. I thought that the root would be a little bit wider. But yeah, there's a cat's tooth. Completely unrelated to weight loss, I know, but although unless it's making you sick, in which case, bravo. But that is a cat's tooth. So there you go. So anyway, so that came out. They gave me that because they said, just in case you want to keep it, closing that. And I thought, okay. So I don't know what else to do, so I took it with me because I could show you people. So anyway, so I get there to pick her up, and they say, well, here's how much the bill is. And this isn't just for the dental bill. This is for the test and the medicine. That's it. And probably because the doctor got bitten hard enough to yank a cat's tooth out. Which I did apologize for, just so you know. So anyway, shelled out almost a week's wages for this. And there is that moment when you think, is this going to be worth it? That I'm paying out a week's wages, I'm waiting for 10 days, bringing them back, and probably paying out another 2 weeks for a 13-year-old cat. But then immediately you feel like a shitheel and think, of course you have to. You can't just say, I want to save some money, so kill it. So it's money I certainly do not have, but again, you can't just go, there you go, you're too much of a bother. Anyway, so the main reason why I'm sort of bringing that up as well is because these sorts of things normally, like, it's not super stressful. It's stressful for the cat. It's not stressful for me. But just having to deal with that Generally speaking, when we run into a situation like that where we, I don't want to use the word stress again. Screw it, stress in any form. Generally speaking, we tend to go for food. That's our comfort. So that we would say, I'm too tired. I've been running around all day. I had to run around and get this and this and this and go and get extra, groceries and special cat food and everything else. You're running around after you've worked an entire day and you're worrying about, something. And then at the end of the day and you're just so exhausted and you don't want to do anything and you think, I don't care. Tonight I'm just going to buy myself fish and chips or pizza or get McDonald's or something. Or schmishmalay. But as it turns out, I didn't have time to binge. Normally, I probably would have, but what I found was that urge wasn't there. I was very conscious of it, that, normally this is when I would start overeating. Just because you're tired, you don't want to do anything. I had already missed my treadmill on like that morning that I had to take her in because I do my treadmill in the morning. I didn't really have time to wake up, get her prepared, everything else, and then take an hour to do my treadmill. So I completely skipped that day. And then the next day, I had to get up and had to give the medicine, and I haven't gotten into the schedule yet, so I was only able to do about half an hour. So there's that, where I've sort of fallen by the wayside on that. I will let you know, this being Saturday, and I said that I was going to do it this weekend, I have done my treadmill today. It's the first Saturday I've done it, partially to make up for the week, but also I want to keep doing this every single day. I want to do my treadmill 7 days a week. Even if Saturdays and Sundays are just for walking, which I didn't do, I just did the same 5-minute interval thing. I want to stay on track with that because I think it's going to help in the long run, just because my weekends are my rough points. Or my rough times. Yeah, rough points, rough times, whatever. Anyway, those are the moments that I would normally overeat. Because we make, my nose is really itchy. We make excuses, just I'm too tired, I've had a stressful day, and I don't want to take the time to take an extra half hour to prepare something. So in the end, I had something simple, but I had something that was still low calorie. And I'm going to sneeze. No, I'm not. All right. So, I lost my train of thought there. I'm trying really hard not to sneeze, because then it's going to go all over the camera. Anyway, all of these stories were related to dealing with stuff at work, trying to not work itself, but dealing with that meal in front of other people at a restaurant that I'm not familiar with, thinking, okay, well, I need to sort of budget for that. And is it going to get me to go over? I've been very conscious this week as well because we're getting to the end of the calendar year and I really want to hit my halfway point before the end of the year. I think if I have another week like I did this week, not stress-wise, but just eating and exercise, then I think I'm going to hit it. I don't think it's going to be a problem. So I'm very pleased about that. But generally speaking, when stressful situations like this hit, those are going to be the moments when I backslide. Those are going to be the times when I really binge, and not like a 5-pickle binge like I did last weekend, where it's just sort of bad food but low calorie. But this would be the situation where I would say, you know what, screw it. I'm just going to stop somewhere. I'm going to get food. I'm going to bring it home and eat a whole bunch. And then once you start, you just continue and you just don't stop. But being really consciously aware of that and knowing that this would be a time that I normally would just pig out on something does help. Even just being able to recognize it, because as tough as it may be to say no, when push comes to shove, then yes, obviously I can just say no. I can't do that because I've made some progress this week and I don't want to throw it all away. I really, really don't. I want to stay on target. I've had a couple of weeks where I've gained and then a plateau and then I lose and then I gain. And now that I'm starting to, lose, I'm back on track. I'm having healthy breakfasts. I'm having healthy lunches. I'm staying on a schedule. And this weekend I had planned on doing my treadmill and staying on that same eating schedule, which I've done so far today. Not too bad. So, things like that will sort of help offset that desire to overeat or to binge, or even just to say, I'm going to have like a cupcake or something, because it just takes one and then you start. So it really is like being an alcoholic. One drink, one drunk. One cake, one fat person. But again, just like being an alcoholic, you do have that willpower to say, you know what, no, it's going to be very, very tough to resist this, but I'm going to do it. Because otherwise I have to go, I have to buy the shitty food, I have to bring it home, and I have to eat it. There's a whole series of steps you have to take in order to get to that point where you go, oh, I just lost control. No, you didn't. You took about half an hour to an hour to prepare to lose control, and then you lost control. So I think it did help, and plus being like sort of focusing on the cat for the next little while, because I have to give it medicine in little syringes. I'm not giving it a needle, just like squirting it in its mouth. But doing that with 3 different kinds of medicine, not happening. The cat's going to shiv me in the shower at some point. It hates me right now. So I've been able to sort of narrow things down with the doctor so that I can take 2 of them and put them in a little bit of food, and they'll eat that. The other one, I still have to squirt into their mouth, but not down their throat. So they went, oh, just try to sneak up on the cat and try to squirt it under its tongue. Do you have a? You're a vet. How do you know? How do you think this is ever going to work? You can't. Number 1, you can't sneak up on a cat. Number 2, you're not going to go surprise and squirt something under its tongue. I don't even know if it was calm if you could squirt it under its tongue. So they said just get it in its mouth somewhere. Just don't squirt it down its throat. Just in its mouth, it needs to slosh it around and stuff. So I'm like, good enough. So I do that once, and then I give it some food with some medicine in it. So it goes, I fucking hate you. I fucking hate you. Oh, food. Thank you. And everything's happy now. But yeah, every 12 hours I'm doing that. So that's one good thing, because I still need to be up at 6 in the morning on Saturdays and Sundays. So that's going to help support me staying on the schedule that I'm on now. So hopefully I have another week and a half till the end of the year, to the end of the calendar year, I should say. And so I don't think that there's going to be a problem me getting to my halfway point, because I'm very, very close right now. So close, but it's not Sunday. So I need to be extra careful today. I don't want to cut way back. There were a couple of days, just because of everything that was going on, that my calories were, I don't think I broke 1,300, which is not good. It's not healthy, because then you're losing too much. And I mean, a couple of days throughout the week, it's not going to kill me. But I want to stay as close to that 18, like somewhere between 17 and 1,800 calories a day, which is what's recommended for me to lose the weight, at the pace that I want. Cutting it down to 12 or 1,300 calories, not great. I mean, I obviously have more than enough fat to sustain me, so it's not a big deal. It's just a couple of days getting used to that schedule and fixing things and taking care of the cat and dealing with everything else. But on a bit of a schedule now, and now with this weekend, I've already got my treadmill under my belt for today. I might do another half hour just to sort of make up for that half hour, because it bugs me. But then I think, well, no, I've done Saturday, so I should do another hour for Thursday, and then another half hour for Friday. I'm not going to do 2.5 hours of treadmill on Saturday. Although, you know what? Even if I just do a walk, it might help. I always feel better after I do it anyway. So, anyway, that was my week. Nothing really weight-related at all. Just a whole slew of shit that's been going on. So I've got another 10 days before I have to shell out another ton of money, which I don't have again. So I got to figure out where that's coming from. So my credit card company is going to love me by the end of this month. Although it's Christmas, so they probably expect it. They won't think anything of it, hopefully, as if they're watching. Shit. Anyway, I'm babbling. So, I'm going to leave this video here. So thank you very much for watching. If you liked it, please poke the like button for me. And in the meantime, keep yourself warm and fuzzy, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.